Boom! Hey, how you going? Thundercloud here. Washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rains. Yes, you know, my mum calls me James. Here I am in a hat in the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, and I've got Dick cards. Don't be a dick. Okay, I won't. All right, welcome to Chillin Tuesday here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I'm taking off my top hat, putting it aside, picking up a book or two. So, well, on this note, it's the 20th of December, the day before the solstice, and tonight on Chillin Tuesday, I'm kind of repeating what I did last week, because last week the quality was bad. In fact, it was so bad you couldn't hear most of it. And so what I've decided to do is to not broadcast anymore live on Facebook. I'm going to pre-record the shows, put them on YouTube, and then share the YouTube to the Facebook. So that's the way you can catch up with Chillin Tuesday poetry. So won't be live anymore. Anyway, on that note, let's begin with acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which I broadcast, the Kamilaroi, banned by people, and acknowledge the continuing connection to the land of the elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge that sovereignty has never been ceded. Very, very sad bit of news this week for the local First Nations people, also Bundjalung people. The great artist, local artist, has passed away. Warning that I will mention the name of this person, Brian Irving. Just last Friday. So very, very sad news. Condolences goes out there. Sorry to all the family, sorry business, the Irvings and all the mob. So yeah, one love. I'm sitting here with a unicorn. This is Bruce. You would think Bruce's pronouns would be it, being a non-human. However, Bruce does identify as a she and a her, and she's, got no bits in her. But anyway, she's my friend, and I'm Thundercloud, and I love unicorns. So, remember, what does it say in my dick cards? Don't worry. Some people just have the dick gene. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So thank you, Annette, for that reminder today and the lovely gift of the dick cards. All right. So last week the quality was shocking. It was absolutely shot, in fact. And I did this book here, 100 Australian Poems You Need to Know. Edited by Jamie Grant with a foreword by Philip Adams, and I did a whole lot out of there. In fact, there was one really, really lovely one there that I did last week, The Fisher by Roderic, Quinn, so I'll be doing that again. But also today, adding to that, I'm going to be doing a random selection out of this book called Spirit Song, a collection of Aboriginal poetry compiled by Lorraine Mafi-Williams. And of course, it's a bit of poetry about Bruce, the unicorn, because that's what I've been writing about this week. So you are going to hear it here first on Chillin Tuesday, Thundercloud and Bruce. But, what else are you going to hear first? You're going to hear a bit from Roderic, Quinn, a bit of D.H. Lawrence, tonight, some A.D. Hope, Gwen Harwood, Bruce Dawe, someone else here, Stephen Edgar, John Forbes, my mate John, that's a different John, not the one here. And I also have the very fortunate in this book here, it comes with all the bios, or short bio of the poet that I'll be reading out. So that's what you're in store for tonight. And then after that, I'll read probably 3 or 4 out of Spirit Song, a collection of Aboriginal poetry, and finish off with a bit of my own. All right, we might bring the camera and make it a bit intimate, hey? Hey, there's Bruce. Hey, Bruce. Bruce is just pretending to be asleep. Bruce is actually always listening. Yes, he's a unicorn. No, I think that calls for a dick card. Cards, all my cards. Oh, what do we got here? Yes. Great things will happen today if you choose not to be a dick. All right. Moving right along. So, I'm going to start with, in this book here, 100 Australian poems you need to know. The Fisher by Roderic Quinn. And we'll get to the bios at the back, and my bookmark's fallen out of the bio place. But lucky, I kind of know where he is because he's at the top of the page. Yes, he is. Roderic Quinn, 1867 to 1949. Well, see, he was born the same year as Henry Lawson, but he lived another 25 years longer. Was born in Sydney, attended Marist Brothers School along with E.J. Brady and St Ignatius College along with Christopher Brennan. He studied law, then became a freelance writer, journalist, and contributing regularly to the Bulletin. Yeah, so there you go. He was 3 years younger than Banjo Patterson. Banjo died in 1941. Roderic Quinn died 1949 after the war. So, yes, pardon me. But this is a most beautiful poem, The Fisher, by Roderic Quinn. All night, a noise of leaping fish went round the bay, and up and down the shallow sands sang waters at their play. The mangroves drooped on salty creeks and through the dark, making a pale patch in the deep, gleamed as it swam a shark. In streaks and twists of sudden fire among the reeds, the brim went by, and where they passed, the bubbles shone like beads. All night the full, deep drinking song of nature stirred, and naught beside the save fish leaping and some forlorn night bird. No lost wind wandered down the hills to tell of wide, wild waterways. On velvet moved the silky, sucking tide. Deep down there sloped in shadowy mass a giant hill, and midway mirrored in the tide the stars burned large and still. The fisher, dreaming on the rocks, heard nature say strange secret things that none may hear upon the beaten way. And whisperings and wonder stirred, and hopes and fears, and sadness touched his heart and filled his eyes with star-stained tears. And so, thrilled with joy and love and sweet distress, he stood entranced, enchained by her full-breasted loveliness. Yeah, what a fantastic poem. I'm going to adjust this camera down a bit so I don't have to look up at it all the time. That's better. Alright, here I am again. Hey, yeah, here I am. Right, The Fisher by Roderic Quinn. The next one I've got here marked for you, Kangaroo by D.H. Lawrence. So, D.H. Lawrence. Let's read about D.H. Lawrence. He, born in 1885, died in 1930. Oh yes, celebrated English novelist. Actually, I'm not going to even read this one because I didn't like the poem and I don't even know I've got a thing, because Kangaroo it's called, and he only lived here for a couple of months, so I'm going to give that a miss. We go over the page, and I didn't like it actually. It's too much prosy. It was too long, and it was like, you know, it was self-serving, I thought. But hey, that's my opinion. And here I'm going to do next one, an A.D. Hope poem for you. Have a drink. Let the whistle. A.D. Hope. But I can tell you about A.D. Hope. 1907 he was born, died in 2000. Born in Cooman, New South Wales, attended schools in Hobart, Bathurst and Sydney, completed a degree at Sydney Uni, and in 1928 went to Oxford on a scholarship. He first worked as a school teacher before becoming a lecturer in English at Melbourne Uni. In 1951 he was appointed Professor of English at ANU, stayed in Canberra for the rest of his life. There you go. And he wrote a lot of stuff, and he was a very, very well respected poet. Actually, what's that, he lived to 93 years old, and yeah, he was definitely, well, he was actually very, very, very well respected as a poet, internationally, particularly. I guess if you live to 93 and you're writing and you're you know, you're going to be. Anyway, practice makes perfect. Oh yes, this is one dedicated to the names of places in Australia. Well, it's actually dedicated to Banjo Patterson's Hay, Hell Hay and Booligal. I glean from signposts in these country places weird names, some beautiful, more that make me laugh, driving to fat lamb sales or picnic races. I pass their worshippers of their golden calf, and in the dust of their Cadillacs, a later-day Habakkuk rises in me to preach comic sermons of doom, crying, woe unto Tokumwal, Teddywaddy, Tooleybook, and wicked Wallamburrawang, your hours come. But when the 4 horsemen ride their final muster, and my sinful country sinks in the fiery rain, one name shall survive the doom and disaster that fell on the foolish cities of the plain. Like the 3 holy children or the salamander, one place shall sing and flourish in the fire, it's Sweetwater Creek at Mullingandra, and there on the last day I shall retire. When Numbugger shrieks to Burrumbuttock, the curse of Sodom comes upon us all. When Tumbarumba calls for spade and mattock, and they bury hay and hell and booligal. When the wrath of God is loosed upon Gilgandra and Galargambone burns red against the west, to Sweetwater Creek at Mullingandra I shall rise and flee away and be at rest. When from Goonoo Goonoo, under Bull and Grong Grong, and suggin buggin, there goes up the cry from Tittybong, Drick Drick and Drung Drung, help, Lord, help us or we die. I shall lie beside a willow cool meander, or cut myself a fly whisk in the shade, and from Sweetwater Creek at Mullingadra, fill my cup and wet my whistle unafraid. When Boinker lies in ruins, more's the pity, and heavenly trump proclaims the end of grace, with Wombat is fallen, that great city, adding Bunyip is in little better case. When from Puckapanyu and from Yakandanda, the cry goes up, how long, O Lord, how long? I shall hear the she-oaks of Mullingadra, and the sweet waters ripple into song. Oh, there's little to be hoped for at Grabengarland, and Tumblegum shrinks and shudders from its fate. The folks at Wantabadgery and Cullen Bullen have Buckley's chance of reaching Heaven's Gate. It's all up to with Cootamundra and Kyandra, and at Colorenabri they know they're through. But at Sweetwater Creek at Mullingadra, you may pitch your camp and sleep the whole night through. God shall punish Cargelico, come by chance Chinkapook. They shall dance no more at Merrijig, nor drink at Gentleman's Halt. The sin of Moombuldul he shall in no wise overlook. We Jasper and little Jillybilly, he shall not condone their fault. But though I preach nap and annihilate Narandra, one place yet be saved, this I declare, Sweetwater Creek at Mullingadra, for its name and for my sake the Lord shall spare. Chorus. Alas, my prosperous, beautiful, my careless country, she destroys herself, the Lord will come too late. They've cut down even their only tree at one tree. Dust has choked honey bugle and drifts over Creeper Gate. The fires we lit ourselves at Mount Boothagandra have made more ruin than heaven's consuming flare. Even Sweetwater Creek at Mullingadra, if I went there now, would live up to its name. Would it live up to its name? Yeah, nice piece of poetry, that one. Beautiful, actually. Yeah, there's a lot of poetry. It's about the reading of it, the tone of it. You know how if you just skim over it with your eyes and you don't get the vibratory frequency of the voice. All right. So the next one here, James McAuley, 1917 to 1976. An angry penguin, I think. James McAuley was born in Lakemba, New South Wales. Educated at Fort Street High School and Sydney University while serving in the army during the Second World War, helped invent the hoax poet Ern Malley. That's right. As a satirical comment on some of the English poets of the 1930s, such as Dylan Thomas and David Gascoigne, and their Australian imitators. In 1956, he founded the magazine Quadrant, and for 5 years later took up a position in the English department of the University of Tasmania, and he died of cancer. This is Because by James McAuley. My father and mother never quarrelled. They were united in a kind of love. As daily as a Sydney Morning Herald, rather than like the eagle or the dove. I never saw them casually touch or show a moment's joy in one another. Why should this matter to me now much? I think it bore more hardly on me mother, who had more generous feelings to express. My father had dammed up his Irish blood against all drinking, praying fecklessness, and stiffened into some stone and creaking wood. His lips would make a switching sound as though spontaneous impulse must be kept at bay. That it was mainly weakness I see now, but then my feelings curled in dismay. Small things can pit the memory like a cyst. Having seen other fathers greet their sons, I put my childish face up to be kissed. After an absence, the rebuff still stuns. My blood, the poor man's curt embarrassment at such delicate proffer of affection, cut like a sore, but home the lesson went. My tenderness thenceforth escaped detection. My mother sang Because and Anne Laurie, White Wings, and other songs. Her voice was sweet. I never gave enough, and I am sorry, but we were all closed in the same defeat. People do what they can. They were good people. They cared for us and loved us once they stood. Tall in my childhood as the school, the steeple. How can I judge without ingratitude? Judgment is simply trying to reject a part of what we are because it hurts. The living cannot call the dead collect. They won't accept the charge and it reverts. It's my own judgment day that I draw near, descending in the past without a clue, down to that central deadness, the despair, older than any hope I ever knew. Yes, well, these certainly are 100 Australian poems you need to know. Definitely, a fantastic poem, that one. Yeah. Oh, Amy Witting. All right, let me tell you a bit about Amy Witting. Where is she? What was she? She was born in 1918 and she died in 2001. Right. Oh, Joan Levick. Okay. In inverted commas, Amy Witting was born in Annandale, New South Wales and attended Sydney Uni She was a friend of James McAuley. She was diagnosed with tuberculosis in her 20s and made a complete recovery. She worked as a teacher for many years. Now, she was 73 when she died, so she had a good life. Well, 80 actually, 83. Fellow teacher, but it was not only her retirement. She gained prominence as a novelist, and she died of cancer. All right, so A Curse on Herod by Amy Witting. Well, I guess we're coming up to Christmas, aren't we? It's quite appropriate on the 20th of December. A Curse on Herod. May you live forever in that eternity. May bird cries from the playground ring in your ear incessantly when you plan your forays. May on your terrible blueprint starfish prints appear. May short, fierce arms be locked about your knees wherever you turn, and small fists drag at your hem, while voices whine a wee-wee and ice cream. These are your children. You have made them. Care for them. May you have no rest. May you wake at night with a cry, chilled by a nightmare that you can't dispel. May the bogeyman be 30 inches high and immortal. These are your children. Guard them well. May they weary you till death appears to be brighter than the walking doll of the tin drum, the loveliest present on the Christmas tree. But to the bad children, Christmas does not come. What a curse on Herod, eh? Poor old Herod. We got a... Well, I think if we were to take the Christ attitude, we would be forgiving Herod, wouldn't we? We would not stay angry at him. No, because the anger only hurts ourselves. So, bitterness. Don't hold on to your anger. It was a lesson in compassion, actually, all those babies being killed. Gwen Harwood. Oh, this was a great one too. It's a simple story, it's called. Now, Gwen Harwood, she was born in Brisbane, but she ended up going to Tasmania. And, let me find. Born in Taringa in Queensland, grew up in Brisbane. She was a musician, church organist, married Bill Harwood in 1945 when he was appointed to a lecturership at the English department at the University of Tasmania. So she was sorry to leave Brisbane, but she come to love Tasmania, blah, blah, blah. She became... she was one of Vincent Buckley's greatest admirers. So, blah, big deal. That's not important really. It could have been, because it could have been an influence. Anyway. Right, Gwen Harwood, a simple story. This is a great one about sexual harassment and her telling him to go shove it up his backside and see you later. A visiting conductor, when I was 17, took me back to his hotel room to cover the music scene. I'd written a composition, Would Wonders Never Cease? Here was a real musician, prepared to hold my peace. He spread my score on the counterpane with classic casualness and put one hand on the manuscript and the other down my dress. It was hot as hell in the Windsor. I said I'd like a drink. We talked across gin and grapefruit, and I heard the ice go clink. As I gazed at the lofty forehead of the one who led the band and guessed at the hoarded sorrows no wife could understand. I dreamed of soaring passion as an egg might dream of flight, while he read my crude sonata. If he'd said, "That's a bar not right," or "Have you thought of a coda?" or "What of the first repeat?" or "Modulate to the dominant," he'd have had me at his feet. But he shuffled it all together and he said, "That's lovely, dear," as he put it down on the washstand in a way that made it clear that I was no composer, and I, being young and vain, removed my lovely body from one who'd scorned my brain. I swept off like Miss Virtue down dusty Roma Street and heard the goods trains whistle, woo, woo, in aching heat. Woo, woo. That's because when that would have been written, the wolf whistle actually would have been very common because it was when I grew up. So yeah, but because she was 17, so 1920 would have been 1937. In fact, that was a way of complimenting a woman back in the day. It was like as she walked down. Yeah. Anyway, that's not done now. But anyway, she did say, "Goodbye, Mr. Conductor. You're not going to get a piece of this ass." Very good on her. Good for her. Oh, I've got a Peter Porter one primed. Well, of course, there's the Peter Porter Poetry Prize, but Peter Porter has passed now. But he hadn't when this book was written. He was born in 1929, and Peter Porter. Whoops, next page back. Here we are. Born in Brisbane and educated at Brisbane Church of English England Grammar School, Churchy, which he later referred to as the Auschwitz on the River, and Toowoomba Grammar School. He was a cadet journalist in Brisbane before moving to London in 1951. Didn't return to Australia until 1974. Since then, he's made frequent visits while continuing to live in London. He's worked in advertising as a journalist, regarded as one of the leading poets in England. Okay, Peter Porter. Affair of the Heart. I've been having an affair with a beautiful strawberry blonde. At first, she was willing to do anything. She would suck and pump and keep on going. She never tired me out, and she flung fireworks down the stairs to me. "What a girl," I said over the telephone as I worked her up to a red riot. "You are everywhere. You're the goddess of tassels shining at my finger ends. You set the alarm clock to remind us to do it before leaving for the office. You are classic, like Roman gluttony, priapic, like St. Tropez lights. She put up with a lot. I forgot about her and went on the booze. I didn't eat or ring. I borrowed from her and in indigence. I was frightened and I fell back on her. An experienced friend told me in his flat, among the press cuttings, they've got to play the field. Of course, I said, but I knew where that was. down my left arm, my left side, my windy stomach. She was sometimes late and, when alone, hammered me on the bed springs like a bell. She was greedy as a herring gull and screamed when my dreams were of Arcadian filleting. I woke in a sweat. I had to do something, so called in Dr. Reingold and his machine. Meanwhile, the paradigm was obvious. "It's me that's in you," said a polar couple. "Me, the love of hopeless meetings, the odd biter. No, me, the wife by the rotary dryer." With the ready hand, Dr. Reingold moved mountains for me and said the electric hearse might not run. "But you're sick, man, sick. Like the world itself, waiting in our outpatients. I know how the affair will end, but not yet, Lord, not yet. It isn't hope. It's being with her where the scenery's good, going to concerts with her eating Stravinsky. It's something more. I haven't finished explaining why. I won't write my autobiography. These poems are my reason. She knows she can't leave me when the act's improving. She could imagine our old age, a black-fronted house in a Victorian terrace, or a cat-piss square working on modernism, while the stark grey thistles push to the door. She can't let me go with my meanness intact. I'll write her such letters she'll think it's Flann O'Brien trapped in a windmill. I'll say her the tropes of Tenebrae or Tanoshbrae. I'll squeal in fear at her feet. I'll stay with me. I'll plead. Look, the 20th century. It's darkening like a window. Love is toneless. On the telephone with someone else to see. Only memory. It's like your tunnelling tongue. Only your fingers tinkering. Tell me I'm alive. Affair of the Heart by Peter Porter. Ooh, I've got a few more here that I really want to do. Two that I really want to do here. The first one, Life Cycle by Bruce Dawe, Bruce Dawe, yes, another fantastic poet, born in 1930 in Geelong. Went to Noonuccal High School, worked in a factory as a postman, joined the RAF. By the time he completed a university degree as a mature age student, he'd already published 2 collections of poetry. And he became the Professor of Literary Studies at the University of Southern Queensland in Toowoomba, and there is also a Bruce Dawe poetry competition every year, so keep your eye out for that. So yeah, born in 1930, he's also passed away. This is Life Cycle. Hey, before I read this, don't forget, you'll see in the description below underneath, you can actually buy me a coffee. We'll send me $5 to buy me a coffee there, and it actually means I get paid. I've been working here 2.5 years doing all this out of my love, and it would really be appreciated if you could buy me a coffee. Or otherwise, you can donate money to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame GoFundMe, so I can continue to create and nurture, celebrate Australian poets and poetry, songlines, and all of that goes along with it. Nurture new poets coming up. That's what we're doing tomorrow night, Wednesday Words. So, yeah, hey poets, it is our Poets Christmas dinner tomorrow night. So don't forget, 6 o'clock. If you've been here during the year for Wednesday Words, you are invited, definitely. All right, Life Cycle by Bruce Dawe for Big Jim Fallon. When children are born in Victoria, they're wrapped in club colours, laid in berry-bone cots, having already begun a lifetime of barracking. Come, they cry, come, feebly first, while parents playfully tussle with them for possession of a rusk. He's a little tiger. And they hoisted shoulder high at their first league game. They're like innocent monsters who have been years swimming towards the daylight's roaring empyrean. Until now, hearts shrapnelled with rapture, they break surface and are forever lost, their minds rippling out like streamers. In the pure flood of sound, they're scarfed with light. A voice like the voice of God booms from the stands. Oh, you bludger, and the covenant is sealed. Hot pies and potato crisps they'll eat. They will forswear the demons, cling to the swan saints, and behold their team going up the ladder into heaven. And the tides of life will be the tides of the home team's fortunes. The reckless proposal after the 1 point win, the wedding and honeymoon after the grand final, they will not grow old as those from northern states grow old. For them, it will always be three-quarter time, with the scores level and the wind advantage in the final term. That passion persisting like a race memory through the welter of seasons, enabling old-timers by boundary fences to dream of resurgent lions and senator figures from the past to replenish continually the present, so that mythology may be perpetually renewed and Chicken Smallhorn return like the maize god in 1,000 shapes, the dancers changing, but the dance forever the same, the elderly still loyally crying, Khan, Khan, if feebly, into the very end, having seen in the 6-foot recruit from Eaglehawk their hope of salvation. Life cycle. Well, yeah, fantastic. Again, 100 Australian poems you need to know. I got a slushy machine given to me today, so I thought I'll just try it and see if it works. And I made a slushy, and it's just gone everywhere. All over my glasses, all over myself, up, anyway, you get that. Okay, and we got one more, and for you, the quality of Sprawl by Les Murray. Now, I read this out last week. I did read it on Wednesday night too, so you're going to hear it again. Sprawl is the quality of the man who cut down his Rolls Royce into a farm utility truck. And Sprawl is what the company lacked when it made repeated efforts to buy the vehicle back and repair its image. Sprawl is doing your farming by aeroplane, roughly, or driving a hitchhiker that extra couple of 100 miles home. Or it's the rococo of being your own still centre. It's never lighting cigars with $10 notes. That's ostentatious and murder of starving people. Nor can it be bought with the ash of $1 million deeds. Sprawl lengthens the legs it trains greyhounds on liver and beers. Sprawl almost never says, "Why not?" with palms comically raised, nor can it be dressed for, not even in running shoes worn with mink and a nose ring. That is society, that style. Sprawl is more like the 13th banana in a dozen, or anyway, the 14th. Sprawl is Hank Stamper in Never Give an Inch, bisecting an obstructive official's desk with a chainsaw. Not harming the official, Sprawl is never brutal, though it's often intransigent. Sprawl is never Simon de Montfort at a town storming, "Kill them all, God will know his own." Knowing the man's name, this was said to might be Sprawl. Sprawl occurs in R, the 15th to 21st lines in a sonnet, for example, and in certain paintings. I have sprawl enough to be forgotten which paintings. Turner's glorious burning of the Houses of Parliament comes to mind, a doubling bannered triumph of Sprawl, except he didn't fire them. Sprawl gets up the nose of many kinds of people, every kind that comes in kinds whose futures don't include it. Some decry it as criminal presumption, silken-robed Pope Alexander dividing the new world between Spain and Portugal. If he smiled in petto afterwards, perhaps the thing did have Sprawl. Sprawl is really classless, though. It's John Christopher Frederick Murray asleep in his neighbour's best bed in spurs and oilskins, but not having thrown up. Sprawl is never Callum, who in the loud hallway of our house reinvented the festoon. Rather, it's Beatrice Miles going 1200 ditto in a taxi. No lurid advances, no hitting animals, no speeding on the proceeds of her 2 Bobber sonnet Shakespeare readings. An image of my country, and would that it were more so. Nah, Sprawl is full glass murals on a council house wall. Sprawl leans on things. It's loose-limbed in its mind, reprimanded and dismissed. It listens with a grin and one boot up on the rail of possibility. It may have to leave the earth, being roughly Christian. It scratches the other cheek and thinks it's unlikely, though people have been shot for Sprawl. Well, there's Murray, a fantastic poet, and alright, let's pull out a dick card. What have we got for you now? We got useless as a dick in a convent. There we go. That's not very useful, that, is it now? No, not at all. As useless as a dick in a convent. All right. Now we're going to move on. We've got Spirit Song here, a collection of Aboriginal poetry compiled by Lorraine Mafi-Williams. The cover illustration by Bluey Roberts. That's it. and I've opened at this page called School by someone called Tony. It just says Tony, it doesn't say Tony who. And there are no bios with this either, no biographies. So we've got an index, but we don't have a biography on this. We just got the names of the poets. So Tony, School. Never liked it very much. Went to 13 of them. Didn't know if they were the unlucky ones or me. Never worked much, didn't do homework because I didn't like the teachers much. Always got kept in after school, but never did stay in, didn't want to. Always wagged the last couple of lessons, went home before the teachers. My parents never found out why, neither did the teachers. Yep. Okay, this is by the person who compiled it, Lorraine Mafi-Williams. Dreamtime, almost gone. Cast your spears on the wind, my sons. Dance to the didgeridoo. Sing the songs of the old, my sons. The dream time's almost gone. Sit beside the sacred sites, look deep into the hills. Carve the knowledge in your hearts, my sons, for the dream time's almost gone. Hear the cries of the earth, my sons, as its back is scraped by harvest ploughs and tractor wheels, for dream time's almost gone. For the dream time's almost gone, my sons, for the dream time's almost gone. Oh yeah, oh okay. We Are Going by Oodgeroo of the tribe Noonuccal, formerly Calf Walker. Written for Granny Cool. They came into the little town, a semi-naked band, subdued and silent, all that remained of their tribe. They came here to the place of their old borrow ground, where now many white men hurry about like ants. Notice of a state agent reads, rubbish may be tipped here. Now it covers the traces of the old borrow ring. They sit and are confused. They cannot say their thoughts. We are strangers here now, but the white tribe are the strangers. We belong here. We are the old ways. We are the corroboree and the borrow ground. We are the sacred ceremonies, the laws of the elders. We are the wonder tales of Dreamtime, the tribal legends told. We are the past, the hunts and laughing games, the wandering campfires. We're the lightning over Gapemba Hill, quick and terrible, and the thunder after him, that loud fellow. We are the quiet daybreak paling the dark lagoon. We are the shadow ghosts creeping back as the campfires burn low. We are nature and the past. All the old ways gone now and scattered. The scrubs are gone, the hunting and the laughter. The eagle is gone, the emu and the kangaroo are gone from this place. The borrowing is gone. The corroboree is gone, and we are going. people by Bobby Sykes. Some of us eat meats, bird meat or escargots or candied bees or each other, but we're all people. Some of us carry Bibles or rifles or swastikas or spears or bows and arrows or love signs, but we're all people. Some of us wear sarongs or feathers or cheongsams or moo-moos or Dior creations or nothing, but we're all people. Some of us dance waltzes or ballets or corroborees or hula or bossa nova or flamenco. We are all people. By Bobby Sykes. Defining Colour by Rex Marshall. Colour is only skin deep. Cut the flesh and the blood will seep from black, white, brown and yellow, or even some ordinary kind of fellow whose blood may be shed with the end results being red. Okay. Let's find you another one. Okay, Margaret Brusnahan. Land rights. Listen to me, O people of mine. This is our heritage, this country sublime. So don't let it go, hold it fast. This is the only link we have with our past. Our people before us lived off this land long before the white man took his stand. They and nature worked together as one, but where are our tribes? They're nearly all gone. Pushed into back blocks where they couldn't exist, given no chance to object or resist. Stand up and be heard and take your place. Don't let us become the lost human race. Our sacred grounds are ours to protect if they want to take them. Speak up and object. They don't need every square inch of earth. This is our land, our right from birth. So let's stand together and speak with one voice and let the decisions be ours and not the whites' choice. Don't let our claims be taken so light. Let's settle this fight for land rights. Well, yeah, so that is by Margaret Brusnahan, Land Rights. Okay, so I've come to the end of my books. Now, Bruce, do you want to hear what I've written this week about Bruce and me and Bruce? Oh, should I tell him, Bruce, or do I have to wait till tomorrow? He reckons that you have to wait till tomorrow. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll go and get the poems, and while I'm doing that, you can remember, because to click on the links, to the like button, the thumbs up, and leave a comment. Tell me what Australian poetry you would like to see here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame in Guyra on a Chillin Tuesday. Who would you like me to read out? Any particular poems of any particular poets? Because, I'm always open to ideas for whatever we've got. All right, so my iPad is charged up, so now I can bring it over here, sit it down here, and finish the night with something for you that I have written about my friend Bruce. Bruce. Well, Bruce, so it all started last Tuesday when Bruce was given to me. Yes, this is my friend Bruce. Her and I love to fly across the sky. Bruce. Okay, so if we go back in time, so we go back in time, the first one, oopsie daisy, I just lost it, but that's all right. We go back in time. The most recent one is about Thundercloud and Bruce. Okay, see if we can find Thundercloud and Bruce. Okay, we got one. Have we got another one for you? Oh yes, I do. I've got a few about Bruce. I think I've about three unicorn poems, maybe even 4. Yeah, serious. I know. It's crazy, but that's just how my head works. Sometimes, because I got given a unicorn, and so I'm just going to write about it, aren't I? Of course you're going to write about it, because it's funny. Unicorns are lovely. But then there's also comments as well. Don't forget the comments. No. Certainly do not forget the comments, because there's always somewhere there's extra bits and pieces that you never know. All right, here we go. We start from the very first one. All right. But what about a butterfly? So I saw a butterfly. Let's start with a butterfly poem. Admiring the hair on a butterfly's wings, the shapes and the colours amongst other things, antenna the head, legs and wing hair. Oh, butterfly, why aren't you flying anywhere? Butterfly, I wonder why don't you shave your armpits and wingbacks? You are so brave, but even all hairy, you are a cutie. Oh, butterfly, please fly and show us your beauty. Yeah. Okay. Let me tell you a story that might interest you. Now it's up to you to discern if this story is true. One evening I was sitting alone in my bed when a rather strange idea came into my head. I thought, I'll leave this, my body. An idea was born. I'll go astral travelling on the back of a unicorn. I closed my eyes and began to relax. Breathe deep. Yes. And began to relax. Sitting cross-legged in my bed in my underdacks. Now this might sound a little weird, I must warn. Well, between my legs was a stuffed toy unicorn with a golden stars and a horn and a pink mane. Well, we shot across the universe in the relativity train. I was riding on Bruce, that's my unicorn's name. We visited many universes in search of glory and fame. We rescued baby